Let's go. Silvia Plath, yeah. Daddy.
Silvia Plath. Daddy. You do not do any more. Black shoe in which I have lived like a foot for 30 years, poor and white, barely daring to breathe or a chew. Daddy, I have had to kill you. You died before I had time. Marble heavy, a bag full of God. Ghastly statue with one grey toe big as a Frisco seal and a head to the freakish Atlantic, when it pours bean green over blue. Good Lord, listen, bean green over in the waters of beautiful Nauset. I used to pray to recover you. Ach du, in the German tongue, in the Polish town scraped flat by the roller of wars, but the name of the town was common. Missed my Polak friend, says there are a dozen or two. So I never could tell where you put your foot, your root. I never could talk to you. The tongue stuck in my jaw, it stuck in a barbed wire snare. Ich, I could hardly speak. I thought every German was you, and the language obscene. An engine chuffing off like a Jew to Dakar, Auschwitz, Belsen. I began to talk like a Jew. I think I may well be a Jew. The snows of the Tyrol, the clear beer of Vienna, and not... No, I've lost it. Forget it. The snows of the Tyrol... No, I can't do it. Stuck. That's it. We'll go back to... No, we'll try this other one.
Silvia Plath, morning song.
Love set you going like a fat gold watch. The midwife slapped your foot soles and your bald cry took its place among the elements. Our voices echo, magnifying your arrival, new statue. In a drafty museum, your nakedness shadows our safety. We stand round blankly as walls. I know more your mother than the cloud that distills a mirror to reflect its own slow effacement at the wind's hand. All night your moth breath flickers among the flat pink roses. I wake to listen, the far sea moves in my ear. One cry and I stumble from bed, cow heavy and floral in my Victorian nightgown. Your mouth opens clean as a cat's. The window square whitens and swallows its dull stars, and now you try your handful of notes. The clear vowels rise like balloons. Isn't that beautiful? The clear vowels rise like balloons. You remember when you're a kid? The little nodules, like in the end of the nose, they're the cleanest they'll ever be. I remember that, Eliza. Beautiful. So clean, the pores, no dirt in them. It's how we should always be. I ride alone in the hearse. It is June. I am tired of being brave. We drive to the Cape. I cultivate myself where the sun gutters from the sky, where the sea swings in like an Ivan gate, and we touch. In another country, people die. My darling, the wind falls in like stones from the white-hearted water, and when we touch, we enter touch entirely. No one's alone. Men kill for this or for as much. And what of the dead? They lie without shoes in their stone boats. They are more like stone than the sea would be if it stopped. They refuse to be blessed. Throat, eye, and knucklebone. Just love that end. Throat, eye, and knucklebone. Men.
Why you so like poetry? Why you love poetry? When it's begun,
I tell you why. I think what it is I listen because I enjoy speaking to people very much. I think it's important to speak to people. I think we probably all, I would hope most people to give that. But I think what it is when I've heard people, because I do listen to people, I think it's an important aspect of talking to somebody, is actually listening to them. But I've noticed that the way they express themselves is just as if there was nothing really to what, you know, it's almost as if what anybody has to say, it's as if there's really nothing to say. So they might as well not be saying it. So when they say it, they are saying nothing, and particularly because there's no enunciation. I truly mean that. It's like if you're going to say it. Meaning, say it like with some degree of emotion, so that the word you used actually, the meaning of the word can be transferred to me as a consequence of your emotional inclusion. I mean, what's wrong with everybody? You know, like, I mean, I hear people speak these days, and it's like, you know, I understand Siri, or whatever they call the clown in America, or is it UK, Siri and whatever the other one's called. I mean, I know that's a way it could be said, but it really ought not to be. I mean, what the hell's wrong with everybody? And I notice that if you talk in the way I do, I think, is that people assume that there's some kind of instability. Well, I'm glad I'm absolutely fucking unstable. I'm so pleased I'm unstable, because I use emotion. Because last time I checked, you know, there's blood running through. Yeah, I notice that sometimes my vision becomes a little bit disturbed. And the reason for that is because I think my blood pressure is not good, meaning it wavers.
Yes, of course.
It's moving up and down, but I'm glad it's doing that because I feel I'm here, you know. It's like, you know, you and I walked at the lake. We're walking at the lake. We have enjoyed, you know, the different rhythm of the lake. I'm glad that the lake is not constant. It would be a disaster. If the lake was constant, it would be a disaster for the lake.
Yes.
Let alone for every human that lived by it.
Do you prefer to...
But you know, but the thing is, I think we all know that in this day and age, you get on by being constant. Have you ever met a woman called
poetry
Constance?
help you to be constant? Or
No, I think that poetry proves to me that what I'm saying just now has validity. It may not be the way it ought to be, but it has validity. That the emotion of being is valid. It's really as simple as that.
And what are you reading now, before you go to sleep, to dream?
Sakharov.
Sakharov.
So, Andrei Sakharov.
Oh, no,
I read.
Before that you...
I read information.
You have read about Stalin, now you...
Stalin, no, but I'm receiving a book. It's coming from East Hampton Library because it must have been rejected. It snuck its way in, but it's a revision of Lenin, written by an Eastern European scholar who surely would not be invited to teach here or to speak here. But I'm really looking forward to reading this book.
And about Hamlet, why you love Shakespeare? Why you...
Well, I mean, part of the reason is because I wasn't very good at it. I didn't understand Shakespeare. Right? I absolutely didn't. I'd known, and so I think Mr. Poskett's class, we were reading Caesar, and so I didn't do so well. But it was English, you see, and so I thought a number of years later after I left the high school that I decided to learn about it. You know, I decided to teach myself it. And I think that the reason I enjoy it is because, like I said about how a word is said, the beauty of Shakespeare to me is, and one of the reasons it's an abiding pleasure to read is because it isn't just that the words are emotionally relative, it is that the words themselves are emotionally in flux, meaning that the way they relate to the word may be either side of it, or at least in terms of its sentence or in terms of its paragraph or whatever, the words are not stable. So there is no constancy to any of it. That's one of the reasons I have a difficulty reading some of the Shakespeare out loud, like I couldn't do To Be or Not To Be. Because every time I come to read it to myself, I can read it in all manner of different ways, because I think that's how it ought to be, because it isn't stable. Because actually there is no stability, is there? I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I sometimes I want stability. It's one of the reasons why probably the mortgage system on planet Earth is stable. I mean, it's inherently unstable, but people enjoy mortgages. Because it's a form of stability, you have a piece of...
Because you are a person very unstable, the same this...
It's very unfair to say that I'm
unstable.
I think it's very unfair to say I'm unstable. It's other people that make me unstable. It's not me, I'm perfectly stable, but it's the behaviour of others that make me unstable. It's my relationship to them that gives me instability. Because I can't trust anybody.
But if you live alone in the wood, some wood in Scottish, would be stable inside you.
A lot more stable.
Yeah, and Chicago is not a good place for maybe you.
Oh no, because, well, no, but you and I have a friendship that provides me with stability because there's a trust there between you and I.
You need trust, because without trusting you, there is instability.
For me it does. I feel unstable.
Openness, trust, and maybe...
But I mean, also, obviously it's important to feel that somebody values you. That what you offer, like for example my friendship with you, my friendship with Ansgar. I mean, I'll give you this story, like Ansgar, I was talking to him about Ansgar's concerns about his own life. And so I was explaining, well, but Ansgar, you and I differ because you're actually somebody who's secured for yourself professional stability and professional renown is not the right word, but I mean he's achieved. Professionally he's a fairly high achiever in my opinion.
Yes.
Right. I think you and I both. So I said to him, you and I differ in that respect. But so we're talking about. So I talked to him about my own sense of instability, partly because of that, because I don't have an equivalence in my life at all. And that does bother me. And so he stopped and he said, well, he said, but to talk about my invalidity, he says, well, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting here. Well, I mean, I'm sitting here. And initially I thanked him because I thought what he meant was that this was proof that somebody who had achieved enjoyed my company, and so therefore this should allow me to believe that I have value, because somebody that has achieved is comfortable sitting with me on the beach talking liberally about whatever. But since then I've thought to myself, what he really meant was that, well, you know, you say that I have validity or I've achieved, but actually I haven't, because I'm sitting here with you and you're a complete fucking mess. You see what I'm saying? Like, I feel that way a lot, and that's even with somebody who I think I have a good relationship with. But I do feel that way.
Yes. Oh, maybe let's stop.
Is that still filming?
Yes, yes.
I didn't see the